Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I'm your host, but today I actually want you to think of me as your personal academic coach. We're going to tackle a feeling I know you are incredibly familiar with, that deeply frustrating moment when math or coding or really any complex subject just isn't clicking. You're staring at a problem, the numbers or concepts are literally swimming on the page, and you feel that rising tide of panic. Well, today we're going to completely change how you handle that exact moment. We are going to transform that frustration from your biggest enemy into your absolute greatest tool for learning. Let's get into it.
So I want you to honestly reflect for a second here. Think back to your last study session. What is your immediate, knee-jerk reaction to a really difficult problem? When you hit a wall and you've been staring at it for, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, what do? Do you immediately flip to the back of the textbook? Do you pop open a new tab to hunt for the answer key? Be totally honest with yourself. Because that immediate reflex, that massive urge to just escape the friction, is exactly what we need to rewire today.
All right, here's today's game plan. First, we'll break down the quick answer trap. Second, why struggle means you're growing. Then we get into our 3-step playbook: delay solutions, study your failure, and rebuild unseen. And finally, we'll wrap the whole thing up with your daily study checklist.
Okay, let's dive into part 1, the quick answer trap, and why giving up quickly actually hurts your brain. You know that familiar habit of checking answers after just a couple of minutes of trying? It's actively sabotaging your potential. Most of us have been taught what we'll call the old way, purely through bad habits. You struggle, you get uncomfortable, you immediately check the answer, and then you stop. You say, okay, yeah, I get it now. But your brain learns something incredibly dangerous from that pattern. It learns that struggle means stop. High-performing students, though, they operate on the new way. They don't expect to understand something immediately. They actually expect confusion. And because they expect it, when difficulty shows up, they don't panic. They lean in. They know that the friction is the actual work.
Moving right along to section 2, struggle means you're growing. It's all about building your mental muscle. As your coach, I need you to completely stop seeing confusion as a red light telling you to turn back. You've got to start seeing it as the exact resistance required to build your mental muscle. Think about it this way. Watching some ripped guy at the gym lift a heavily loaded barbell won't tear a single muscle fiber in your own arms, right? You cannot get stronger by just observing. Well, passively reading solutions is exactly the same thing. It will literally never build your math or problem-solving skills. Your brain is a piece of pattern recognition hardware. To build true capability, it needs the heavy resistance of failure. It has to test patterns under uncertainty, fail, and then adjust. You have to lift the heavy weights yourself.
And that brings us to this amazing concept, productive struggle. Now, this isn't just some cheesy motivational buzzword. It is heavily grounded in neuroscience. Productive struggle means sitting with a problem that is intentionally way beyond your current ability and actively testing ideas that might totally fail. You aren't just passively staring at a blank page. You are breaking the problem apart, trying weird angles, just guessing. Every single time you fail through that uncertainty, you are teaching your brain how not to solve it, which eventually makes finding the right path completely automatic.
All right, section 3. Here is play 1, delay solutions, or how to map the edges of the problem.
So how do we actually put this into practice? We use our playbook to break that reflex of immediate gratification. Here is your first official coaching directive. Next time you get stuck, say on a brutal calculus equation or a really tough coding bug, pull out your phone and set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes. During this window, you are absolutely 100% forbidden from looking at the answer. But here's the secret. Your goal for those 10 to 15 minutes is not actually to solve the problem. Take that pressure right off your shoulders. Your only goal is to explore it. Rewrite the equation, simplify a fraction, draw a terrible, messy diagram. Ask yourself, hey, what patterns from last week does this vaguely remind me of?
It's kind of like wandering a brand new city without pulling up Google Maps. If you just blindly follow the little blue line on your phone, sure, you arrive at the destination, but you have absolutely no idea how you got there. You didn't build the mental map. But if you wander around, get a little lost, hit a few dead ends, and then finally find the landmark, you have mentally mapped the streets. Even if you make zero actual progress in those 15 minutes, your brain is mapping the edges of the problem. So when you eventually do check the solution, it's going to be deeply meaningful because you've already walked the streets. That right there is exactly how you build real, lasting confidence.
Which brings us to section 4, play 2, study your failure, because the error is the actual lesson here.
Okay, so the 15-minute timer rings and you finally check the solution. If you just look at it and go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Stop right there. That is the biggest trap in learning. It gives you this huge illusion of competence.
When you look at the solution, you must actively compare it to your own messy failed notes. Ask yourself, where exactly did my thinking diverge from the correct approach? At what specific, exact line of math or logic did my brain decide to choose a totally different path? You have to isolate that exact moment of failure.
Because, as this fantastic quote says, improvement happens when you understand your incorrect instincts, not just when you see correct solutions. Let's be real. Seeing the right way to do something is easy. Understanding why your brain naturally wanted to do it the wrong way, that is what builds true expertise. You literally have to debug your own brain's code.
Section 5. Play 3. Rebuild Unseen. This is all about wiring the brain for retention.
So you've delayed the solution, you've studied your exact point of failure, and now you got to close the book. Most students just stop at passive recognition. They look at the correct answer, their brain says, "Oh yeah, I recognize this," and they totally mistake that passive recognition for actual earned knowledge. But guys, that's just short-term memory. It is going to vanish by tomorrow's exam. To achieve active reconstruction for long-term retention, you have to try to solve the entire problem again, entirely from memory. This crucial shift from passive to active is where the actual, literal neurobiological wiring happens in your head.
Now, what if you totally blank and can't remember at all? Well, that is perfectly fine. First, try to rebuild it and just let yourself get stuck again. Second, open the solution, but peek only at the tiny specific part you forgot. Do not read the whole thing again. Just find that one missing link. Third, snap the book closed and try from memory again. This iterative, step-by-step rebuilding process is exactly how experts are formed. It completely forces your brain to generate those connections all by itself. And finally, Section 6, your daily study checklist. Take this right into your next session.
I want you to take this post-game review directly into your very next study session. This is how we execute the playbook. First, expect confusion and lean in. Second, the moment you get stuck, set that 10 to 15-minute exploration timer. Go wander the city. Third, when you do check the answer, find your exact point of divergence. Debug your instincts. Fourth, close the book and rebuild the solution entirely from memory. And finally, work in a distraction-free zone. Seriously, no extra tabs, no background noise, definitely no phone. Deep, mathematical, and conceptual thinking requires uninterrupted cognitive loops. Every single time you check a text message, you reset your brain's progress, and you have to start the whole struggle all over again. Give your brain the quiet space it desperately needs to work.
Confusion is a signal you're getting close, not a signal to stop. I really want you to reframe that feeling of frustration right now. It is not failure. It is literally the very edge of your actual growth. The students who truly master complex subjects aren't some rare mythical geniuses who magically avoid confusion. No way. They are simply the ones who have trained themselves to outlast it.
So, I'll leave you with this. Next time you get stuck, and trust me, you will get stuck, how long are you going to stay in the struggle before you tap out? Are you going to fall back into the quick answer trap, or will you run the playbook, lean right into the confusion, and let your brain actually grow? The choice and the growth is entirely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me on this Explainers. Now get out there, run the plays, and embrace the struggle.